Welcome back to another episode of Athena's Listening Crew podcast. I'm Lena, along with my co host.
Renee.
Today, we're joined by someone whose work is deeply rooted in supporting women as they build economic independence and step into their leadership. Her name is Isabel Georgelos, the Deputy Director of the Business Women's Center at the YWCA of Southern Arizona, an organization that has long been committed to empowering women through education, advocacy, and community support. Through the Business Women's Center, she works directly with women entrepreneurs, helping them turn ideas into businesses, build confidence, and access the resources they need to grow.
The first in her family to attend college, Isabel built a 25-year career in corporate leadership with some of the nation's top retailers. She is passionate about supporting women at home, in the workforce, and in business ownership. Her work centers on advocating for and delivering resources that help women achieve financial stability and long-term economic growth through career readiness and entrepreneurship. When women thrive, families and communities thrive. In this conversation, we'll talk about her personal journey into this work, the mission behind the Business Women's Center, and what she sees firsthand as more women step into entrepreneurship here in Southern Arizona. If there are any topics you would like us to explore, if you are a woman business owner interested in joining the podcast to share your journey, we'd love to hear from you. Reach out to us at athenaslisteningcrew@gmail.com.
All right. And yeah, please listen. This was a fantastic, fantastic conversation with Mrs. Isabel. She's just a phenomenal person. All right.
It was
Enjoy.
All right.
Bye. Well, hi, Isabel. Welcome.
Hi.
Welcome.
Thank you
Excited
for
to have you
joining
here.
us. Yeah, we're so excited. And we just like to start off with by hearing a little bit about you and what your story is, and then what led you to the work you're doing today.
Oh gosh, that's a long. I'm going to try and keep it short. Thank you first off for inviting me, ladies. I think this is a really cool podcast I got to watch. So happy to be here. Gosh, I am a second generation American. My mother immigrated here. She came from the central part of Mexico, Sinaloa, and she came here by herself,
Oh, wow.
in the
Oh, wow.
60s. Yeah, that was like huge, in the 1960s, a young woman to come by herself. But how could I tell you? Our family, my grandparents, they were land rich and, dirt poor. So it was a way to, change and move on to a better life. And I would say my mom is probably integral to my life story, obviously, but for many reasons. First off, she came here, fearless, established herself, eventually met a man who would become my father, unfortunately also divorced. So she was in the 1960s, a divorced woman with two little girls. And those things were unheard of
Yeah.
at the time. But, my mom was amazing. She was fearless. She dedicated herself to us. She never remarried, just dedicated herself to her family and then helping the rest of her siblings who eventually immigrated to the US too. She's one of seven. So she helped her whole family.
She is quite
Um,
fierce. Yeah.
yeah, she is.
Yes. That kind of gave me chills because
I know. She's just like, I mean, there's no cell phones, there's nothing. I mean, it's this
Nothing. Imagine she just got on a train and
solo. Oh my
uh-huh,
goodness.
no Google, no researching stuff, just
nothing.
showing up.
Yeah,
Wow.
absolutely fearless woman. And even now, I just lost her in October. She
Oh,
was 95. And I think now, like moments, when you think of interactions with your mom and you're just like, oh my gosh, man, she was badass. Excuse my language, but
no, I mean, yes,
Yeah,
that's
it's
that's
true.
the words that come in my mind is
yeah. And when you say like what got me here was just my mom, my gosh, my amazing mother.
Hmm.
And her dream was to become a tailor. She studied and she wanted to do medicine but couldn't. And so she studied to become a tailor. And everywhere she went, it was like, no, only men could be tailors. You're a seamstress, right? That's what she would hear. And nope, my mom became the tailor. She
Oh,
became a
wow.
tailor. She's a well-known tailor. She worked for eventually for Day Bloom and Sons, which was a very well-known men's store here in Tucson for many, many years, a legacy business. And sadly, they all eventually passed away, and so did the business. But then she moved to Franklin's, which was another legacy business, men's tailoring business and men's store. And so she was very established. When she retired, she was, just had a wonderful legacy. People loved her. She suited so many incredible men, so she has her own little beautiful story.
Yeah, she's a
Um,
trailblazer.
I was
I
yeah,
just
mean,
going to say
that
that. What a
is that is
trailblazer.
yeah,
just
she
a
was.
fierce, badass
Yeah,
trailblazer is your mother.
yeah.
What was her name?
Argelia. But she went by Angie because people would decimate her name. But it's Argelia. And so yes, my beautiful mom. And but the one thing that I will tell you, because I was like, how, because things go full circle.
Yeah.
My mother, when we were little, she was amazing at creating community and being of service to others. And so she connected with Pio Decimo, the programs at Pio Decimo. It was led by women, um, you know, um, and it was just a wonderful program. And it's through Catholic services, I think it's still connected.
Hmm.
Not sure, but I just remember in my mind, I can still hear it where we're going to Pio Decimo, we're going to Pio Decimo, and it'd be a bunch of women and they'd be in community, they'd help each other, you know, that's how she got connected with different opportunities and jobs and things like that, going to English, taking English classes. And so, when my career loop came back around and I all of a sudden found myself in nonprofit, like for me, it was like coming home. I'm like, oh,
Oh,
I know this space. I can do this. And that's kind of like, I know that's what led me to eventually come to the YWCA is just, I felt at home. I felt like this was my space, my people,
yeah.
I
Your
guess is the way
calling.
to say it. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. But we benefited from different programs that were offered, for, if, again, you think a fearless woman, in a new country, learning everything, and she was very smart, but it's like you still have to learn so much to navigate how things are done in the US, for
Hmm.
any immigrant,
Absolutely.
so, and I know my mom's story is one of many. I just feel lucky that it's mine.
A legacy.
That's amazing.
I could sense that spirit of your mother, like in
Mhm.
you. You
Yeah,
just carried a torch. Oh, how beautiful, Isabel.
thank
I
you.
mean, to think about going into a country, a foreign country, not knowing the language yet, not knowing its laws, its how you do things, how the society is, like to just walk in and that just blows my mind. I'm sorry. I just have to take it in for a second.
Yeah.
So,
Mine too, because
yeah.
like I remember when I went to Germany a couple years ago and I was going to other countries and trying to figure out just the transit system, and that was intimidating enough. And like half of Europe speaks English, but at the same time, like to me, it was still intimidating. So I ended up just staying within Germany and not going to another country. And here's your mother, just without the
Yeah.
apps, without the phones, without translators, right? Just
Yeah.
going in and doing it. Wow,
Yeah.
that was
And
amazing.
actually, yeah, my mother did the same. Like she came to the United States because she's from Okinawa, Japan. And our situation was a little different, but I know when we came over, I was about 4 and neither of us knew English. So, yeah, but I was a kid, so I think as a child, I was under the protection of my mother. So my mother had to, like she said, she took a train from Seattle, Washington, all the way to Pennsylvania, and our island in Okinawa is like this big. And she said that train ride, it was in the 70s, was forever. She just like, how big is this country? Like, where am I going? And for me as a little kid, it was like an adventure. I'm just
Yeah.
bouncing off the seats and stuff. And then as a kid, you'd kind of absorb. But yeah, so, and then what your mother did was just like 5 other levels above. So,
Yeah. Yeah, definitely. Definitely. I think that I equate that though to just one of the many life lessons she gave us.
Mm.
We used to joke, my mom always spoke in parables. Everything was in parables, and like, the word impossible did not exist in our home. Still doesn't in our vocabulary. We're just not, we're possible. Everything is possible. She never said no. She just said, it's possible, in her accent, so it was always funny. Or when it's time. Mom, can I do when it's time? It was just she was interesting that way. She was funny. But I find myself now using some of them, so it's oh my gosh, I've turned into my mom. But yeah, lots of life lessons that were always shared with us because she was also very transparent. So
Hmm.
it was good. I count myself very lucky. And I use a lot of it today.
Very
Yeah.
beautiful. Very nice. So that obviously is a huge like impact that what brings you to supporting women. Were there other
Yeah.
experiences besides your beautiful mother that brought you to where you're at today and or your focus on helping women?
Absolutely. I obviously growing up, going to school, we weren't, my mom always, although worked hard, we had to make ends meet. So I grew up with a very entrepreneurial mindset. I was always, again, my mom, it's possible. And you have to, like, if you've got to work for it, you've got to do it. So I learned how to sew because, she sewed. We all do. My family, my sister, we sew. And so I started sewing to make money. And then at night, we would make tortillas. So we all had to go through it. And then I had cousins that lived with us because my mom always was helping people. So my house was always full of somebody, family. So I grew up with like five, I would call them siblings, my sister and I and three cousins. And we all used to help make tortillas at night when she got home. So she'd go from her one job to the next job and then come home and we'd make tortillas and we'd sell those. And that was my gas money. Um, so I had that side of me always embedded. And then there's my mom obviously wanted us to do better and to go to school and everything. So had to go through that journey as well. And found myself working and then making money. But you still need to keep learning, right? You still need to
Yeah.
keep educating yourself. So you have to it was learning to manage all of this is still, educating myself, going to school, college, and then also, working to contribute to my household, to my family. Um, I was able to very fortunately build a strong career, in retail. Um, Retail for me met a lot of needs. I wanted to be a lawyer. I wanted to be an accountant. I wanted to be what is it, a therapist or a psychologist. I just had too many interests. But retail helped me do all of that. I had to be good with numbers and financials. I had to be somewhat of a lawyer, a negotiator. I had to be good with people. I had to understand the psychology. Like it just, and I think there was a little bit of actress in there too. But you do, you're on.
Yeah.
Hmm.
Yeah.
And that's an amazing way to view retail too. I never
Yeah.
thought of it that way, but it's so true.
Yeah, you use so many skills and I loved it. I absolutely loved it. Obviously when you're good at something and you have a passion for it, it works. And I I count myself very lucky in that respect that I never really felt like I was working. Was passionate about what I did. But I did used to hear like, oh, you're a great salesperson. You could go sell cars. You could go. And I was like, no, you don't really know me. I'm like, no, I'm not a salesperson. I'm a service person. I always approach things from a point of service. Like
Hmm.
if I'm showing you a product, it's because it's going to serve you, right? And I've learned everything about it, so I can tell you why it's good, why it's the best, or benefits, features is the language. But the truth is this right for you? And this is how it could be right for you. And I like that. I love that. I love the power of creating something and watching people respond to it.
Hmm.
Um, and then I also loved the space of helping others. I like to create spaces for others to pursue their goals in that respect. People mentored me and helped me. And the organizations I worked for sent me to school for even more education and, invested in me too. So for me, that was like, what a wonderful space to be in, you know. You're doing what you love, you're learning, you keep learning, and no day's the same. No day was ever the same. And I love that. And I got to work for some incredible, you know, retail organizations. So much so that I, you know, traveled. I was a road warrior. I was on a plane every 2 days, going here, there, you know, helping, you know, markets, you know, either
Uh,
open or train, you know, supervise. I was a field person and I loved that. I loved being out, you know, with people. And I have an energy thing. I absorb energy, good or bad. And I also have like I just have this, I have this ability to see things. So
mhm.
I could stand in front of a building, you know, at the front of a store, say, and just observe the energy. And I could tell if something was off or good. You know, I don't know. It was just something I could do. It was my little superpower. And so it served me well. I got to work, like I said, for some incredible companies, and learned a lot of good things, learned from the best, you know, in terms of everything from, I did cellular, I did small box, like specialty in the malls, I did big box, I did, because this is terminology in retail. I did soft lines, which is clothing. I did hard lines, which is like Bath and Body Works. I was there, you know.
So was
Oh, I
I.
never knew
Okay.
like there was like soft lines, hard lines, like all
Oh
this.
yeah.
Yeah.
Home,
There's,
you know, I worked for Pottery Barn, one of the biggest, you
Me
know,
too. Yeah.
retailers, Williams Sonoma. So yeah, I did it all. I did a discount. I did discount. You know, that's where I started and I loved it because I thought it was really cool that we could sell something so inexpensive, but yet you could find Gucci or something in there. And so I thought that was cool, you know. So so yeah, I did it all. And worked with a lot of great people that I still stay connected with, you know, who went on to, you know, make exciting lives for themselves. So yeah. And but there was something there. I had a learning about people there in that career, and that was I told you I was really good at identifying good or bad. I could
yeah. So I'm
feel
curious.
it.
Yeah.
Uh-huh. And so I was so good at it, they would send me places to go and, hey, something's off here, you need to go.
Hmm.
And so I would go, and I went to this one um, market, and I did. I went in and I was auditing, and right away, you know, like I said, numbers spoke to me, and right away I saw a receipt, and I was like, eh. And so then I started digging, and unfortunately, somebody was embezzling quite a bit of money. And you know, when you're so good at something, you just kind of forget certain things, you
Hmm.
know. And I
Hmm.
remember the moment when I realized I saw it, and I was like, got him. You know, it was one of those moments where I was like, yeah, gotcha. He committed suicide.
Mm.
This young man who, you know, hi,
It's okay.
It's okay. It's
It's not
okay.
an easy topic.
Yeah.
sorry, give me a sec.
No.
No problem.
He thought that was the only solution, right?
Mm.
Hmm.
He made a horrible mistake, and he thought that was the only solution.
Mm.
And that changed how I did things after that. Because I was good at what I did,
Hmm.
and I did care about people. Honestly, people were my priority.
Yeah.
But I learned through that experience that even you have to treat people who are struggling, because whatever drove that decision, it's because they're facing something, they're struggling with something. You have to treat them the way you would treat the best person you were interacting with, because you don't know
Hmm.
Hmm.
what's going on in their lives. You don't. So I think that taught me understanding consequences doesn't necessarily always have to be punitive. And I had, again, gotten so good at being able to see these things that I lost that somewhere during that time. And so it really was a reset for me in many ways. And after that, I still used my skills because,
What
more.
changed? How did that
Um,
reset? Like, what was one of the
my
major
reset
changes
for
you
me
made?
was really going back and saying, hey, there is processes are meant to keep honest people honest. So I really started looking at processes. I was very much into, well, how do we do things and how do we create the right behaviors? And how do we learn to identify those opportunities that may lead someone to make a poor decision? And then what does that language sound like? How do
Mm-hmm.
we talk to each other? So that we don't get to a place where somebody has, embezzled thousands of dollars and their only option is jail and everything else. It's like we still have a responsibility.
Mm-hmm.
It can't be just we're going to operate at a 1% shrink or whatever. And, like there's other things you can do and other ways you can engage with people, to help and create, and support the right behaviors. Because people don't walk in and just say, "Oh, I'm going to do this." Something happens. You know,
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
it's the level of opportunity and desperation, and they're kind of always doing this. And so I changed how I would talk to the teams. I would always talk about 1,000 moments of truth and just say, you're always going to face these scenarios and you have a moment where you're going to make a decision. Think about future, think about, is this the right decision? And if you need help, ask for help. I just changed,
Mm-hmm.
how I did things, how I led. It really changed my leadership mindset. And I eventually had to leave that organization. It just was too hard.
Mm-hmm.
I was dealing with, I think, my own trauma over it.
Yeah.
And I went on to I'm lucky that I was always recruited, so I never, found myself having to look for a job. But I did go to the next job with a commitment to do it differently.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm happy to say I did. I created a different culture where people felt, I think, supported, definitely accountable because, everybody, you can't be a hug fest. It can. And I'm a hugger, but it can't always be about a hug fest. You
Right.
also like we got to get the work
It's
done
a
because that's how we take
balancing
care of each
act.
other
Yeah.
and people and everything. But I can say that I was able to, I think, build stronger teams, people who really felt ownership, who really cared about the people they worked with. And because I think that's the biggest thing, you got to care.
Mm-hmm.
And it led me to an acronym that I created that I teach people and around
Which
that.
is
What is that?
what?
What's the acronym?
It's care and it's be curious. Um, because when you're curious, you start to listen instead of talk.
Mm-hmm.
And listen for the things that maybe people aren't saying, like tell me more. um, you know, be appreciative because when people talk to you about things that took courage. And so appreciate when people are being vulnerable and talk to you about, their perspectives, share an opinion, whatever it is, appreciate it. Um, be reliable
Mm.
in being curious and appreciative because if you become reliable, your circle of influence will grow because people can now rely that you're not going to react to stuff. You're going to listen and you're going to seek to understand what they're trying to communicate and share, good or bad.
Mm-hmm.
And, it leads to empathy and empowerment. So
Wow. I love
practice.
that.
So do I.
That's such a beautiful way of just, it's like such a neat care package. I love it.
Yeah, and I work to practice it,
Hmm.
It,
and
yeah.
share it. So that helps me stay honest, sharing it. Because
Yeah.
then people
Yeah.
say, you practicing care?
Yeah. And I'm really sorry to hear you gone through that, but I have been in a similar situation, so I fully understand that. And I love the growth you've had out of
Mhm.
that self-reflection, your own personal growth from it, improving, which is impacting other people positively as well.
Yeah,
And
thank
in a
you.
way, I look at it
It's a
as
while.
you honored his life by pivoting the way you did, because that's how much of an influence he made in you and how you just look what the changes you did and then the impact that you have created after that. So thank you
So
for sharing that. Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah.
I'm surprised I did. I didn't know I was going to share that, but that's okay.
Well, I'm glad you did.
What can,
Yeah.
that's part of the life I've led, and definitely something. And thank you. I do honor him for that. And then, and it does. I um I had a life change. The second thing that happened was that I had a life change. I always wanted to have a child and I couldn't. My husband and I were unable to. For 17 years, we tried everything. I did everything. I injected everything into my body. I spent a fortune trying to have my own child and we couldn't. And after
Hmm.
17 years, a friend of mine slid a card over to me while having lunch and said, "Call this lady." And I did, and I met her, Kim, and she was this woman who was who following her own ministry because of an experience she had in her life. And what she would do is she created with Child, which was a program where she helped women who would decide, to place their children with a loving family for reasons of their own.
Hmm.
But it would always be their choice. They would get to
Yeah.
pick you and decide. And she did this program and I called her and she said, I've got a group right now, but I'll talk to you in 6 months. And I was like, okay, thank you. And I forgot about it. And 6 months later, she called me and said, okay, we're starting a new group. Here's what we're going to do. I'm going to come visit you. We're going to, you're going to have to go through some processes, but, then we'll get you in the group. And I'm like, group, okay. And I tell my husband, and my husband's like, okay. And so we found out we were in a group of 12 couples who were in the same situation. And what she would do is always start with a group of 12.
Hmm.
After she interviewed them, I got fingerprinted, everything, FBI
Hmm.
check. You go through a lot to
Yeah.
adopt. And we did. After 2 years, we got our daughter, but she would not start a new group until she placed a child in every one of those families. And what
Oh,
we
wow.
didn't know is we were also going to be going through group therapy for 2 years because you wind up
Yes.
doing group therapy and you
Mhm.
talk about the challenges you're facing.
Yeah.
And it was beautiful. It was an incredible
How a
experience.
lovely.
Uh-huh.
Oh, what
Yeah.
a neat.
Yeah.
We're gonna have
And
to get does she still do this? Do you
Yeah.
know?
she passed away
Oh.
tragically.
Oh,
But yes, with Child is still there. And on Facebook, we still see some of the families from our group, and just heart each other and see our kids growing up. And it's pretty amazing to be part of that community. And but it was what happened with our daughter when we had her is she was born initially with a kidney problem that required medication twice a day at the morning and at night at the same time. And remember, I told you I was a road warrior.
yeah.
Hmm.
So I had to change my life.
Mhm.
I spent 17 years trying to get my daughter. I wasn't gonna just like bye, and
Yeah.
she needed attention. So and she's fine. She's fine today. But so I had to make a decision in job change, and I literally took like 10 steps back and just said I need to stay local. I can't travel. And I was very lucky that the organization I work for was like, whatever you need, you can move, but it was going to add even moving to Tucson because I would have to move to Tucson to be close to my family because I needed help.
Hmm.
Uh, it would add too much more time. It would add extra time and cost.
Hmm.
So it just didn't make sense. And sometimes, you can't force things. You're being guided.
Hmm.
And so I did. I changed jobs. I stayed local. And it was the first time I did a job change for purely personal reasons. Like, this is for me. I need this. And so I did. And my daughter, she's 18 now and she's gorgeous. And doing her own thing, but she's,
And
you know,
and the
those are my
painting
favorites.
behind you, which is beautiful.
Yes.
Very, you,
Beautiful
you,
artist. I
you
see.
guys
Yeah,
sew,
yeah,
you
yeah.
paint, a
Yeah.
Uh-huh.
family that paints and sews, like very art,
Yeah.
It was
Very
perfectly
crafty,
lucky.
designed for
artistic.
your family. Yeah.
Yeah. But
Yes.
that was the other big change because I had again my daughter changed me like how
Mm.
I was as a leader and it just another evolution and I loved it.
Children do that. Yeah.
Uh-huh. And because I'm still very, focused and relentless, but it was different. She made me understand that okay, tomorrow's okay.
Oh,
Tomorrow.
sounds like she's channeling your mother.
Uh-huh. Yeah. Because I used to be like, can I have that 10 minutes ago kind of person? And
Yeah.
and I just total A.
Oh,
And
cool.
so I now it's like, yeah, I'm like an AB. You know? I'm like, yeah, tomorrow's gonna be okay. Like we're okay. And yeah, she'll still text me. Be
And
like,
that speaks to how you were, as her mother, how you raised her.
oh well,
It's reflected right back at you. So,
yeah, she's a little fierce one too. I think she channels my mom more. But yeah, and they were like thick as thieves. So she did. She blessed our whole family. And so I'm very
excellent.
grateful. But that was another big step in the journey. And I think that was the first time I wasn't looking anymore at like, I'm going to be president of a company. Instead, it was like, I'm going to be president of my family.
hmm
Mm.
Um, but I'm not a slow person. I'm very blessed. My life is full. And so with that change, I decided to go into business. I eventually decided to start my own business and just take all the skills and everything I learned into my own business. And I connected with the Tucson Hispanic Chamber at the time. It's now the Southern Arizona Hispanic Chamber, but I connected with them because I had had some contacts there because I also moved back to Tucson and connected with them. And in 6 months, I had contracts. I was working all over the city. I was training and doing leadership. I was busy. And the pandemic hit
Mm.
Ah,
and everything shut down
Yep.
in March of 2020. And so I was like,
hmm
oh, okay. And but because I was connected to the chamber, they were like, can you help us? Because then everything went crazy. And so I ran the chamber for the next
yeah, I
3 years.
saw that. Yeah,
Yeah,
I
I
saw
was
little
I was
articles.
the
Yeah.
interim CEO of the chamber. And I let and that was, I'm a believer. I'm faith-based, and I believe, you're put where you need to be.
Hmm.
And people are put in your life when you need them to be, and so forth. And discerning which are the right ones and not is important too, but good or bad, people are in your life for a reason. And so I found myself there. I worked with an incredible group of people. We helped so many small businesses. It was such a horrible time, seeing legacy businesses who didn't have processes in place that would have helped them obtain, relief funds,
Uh,
um, you know, people paying people cash, and there's no way to confirm how much you spend in payroll. Just unfortunate stuff, but big lessons that helped us in terms of like how can we better serve our community. And then after we got out of that, and started coming back, um, I connected with leadership here at the YWCA, and just, the opportunity was here for me to come and lead the Women's Business Center. And, everybody, like the charge of every organization is different, right? And
mhm.
so I thought my skills were more aligned to the charge here and the mission here. And so I did after dating my boss for a few months and just talking to her because I'm a relationships kind of person. I just need to build something, I need to have a
Yeah,
connection. I need to know who I'm working for and
right.
what I'm doing and,
hmm
and the mission and stuff. And so I came on board in September of 21, and, I've loved it. Like I said, I feel like I came home. The women we serve, we touch them at different points in their lives. They, you know, they're my mom. many of the times that I feel like I meet my mom every other day and just see that journey of women, trying to create, better lives for themselves, for their families. And that's the key is that women, you know, um, we're collaborators, we're community builders. When we
Yes.
do something, we bring everybody with us. And so you're not just lifting that woman, you're lifting everybody around her. And that to me, I get goosebumps,
I know when you said it,
Um,
I was just like, I don't know. I got it all up and down like
yeah.
chills.
I get goosebumps, and so I really do, and I had to do a post for I was challenged to do a post the other day because I'm not a social media, and I was telling and I just said, okay, well, what am I going to say? And I was like, okay, I love my job. I love what I do because I get to connect with women who have a dream or are overcoming a challenge, and I respect that. I respect the resilience of women. I respect the strength. And if I can be a little part of that, just like my mom used to be, I love that. I feel like it's like you said the other day, I'm honoring my mom. I'm honoring my grandmother because she was, yeah, she
You
was
have a
one tough
strong
cookie.
lineage. Yeah.
Yeah, they were all were like my great
Yeah,
grandmother. They were just
I
like
can
they were
see it.
the
It's passed
matriarchs. They were
down.
like, yeah, they were like, and you can feel them in these moments. And I get to connect with. Oh my gosh, Flor. A year ago, quietly started connecting with us. A woman, she's married, two daughters, and she would come with her daughters. And, she immigrated from Guatemala. She wanted to learn, she wanted to learn leadership and everything. So she started coming to our different programs started her business. She has like two businesses. Today she has commercial contracts, you know? She is a totally different person. And then not in the, oh my gosh, we changed. No, she's herself. She's bloomed. She's blossomed. We've got Anna Lee who, connected with the organization in 2018. She took English classes with our programs and then eventually leadership. And then she heard about the Women's Business Center and said, I want to start my business. I used to do that. She ran her food truck through the pandemic. She launched amazing food. Her business is now in St. Mary's on Toho Poblano. She opened her doors, her brick and mortar in 23. Like she's doing amazing. Like, and those are just two little stories, but I get to
But with
be
all
a
these
part of these
stories,
stories every
yeah.
every day. The
Is
next
that
lady
how
that
you
comes in the
see
door.
like women just redefining what success is today?
Mhm. On their terms, they get to decide. And, it's like I said, Annalie with her kids,
Yeah.
they helped her in her food truck. Flor with her little girls, coming to everything with her. And, but here's the beauty is there, I feel like that's me. That's me and my sister watching my mom doing everything she was doing. Like she doesn't know how much she's giving her daughters in those moments when
Hmm.
she's either engaging, like she's come to focus groups and she's shared her perspective and her journey. Her daughters are learning from that. It's all these little things you don't know, but they are. And then, they're creating jobs. Um, we had we have Incubate Her, which is for startups and aspiring entrepreneurs. We have Build Academy, which is for existing businesses, where you spend more time, you take a deeper dive into your business.
Mm.
I didn't make this stuff up. I mean, it's from the actual data of the organization, the businesses we helped during the pandemic. They told us these were the things that were challenging them. We learned from them. We took all that data and we started creating. And honestly, we threw everything up on the wall and tried and tested everything that they were telling us they wanted, and eventually it formed into organically into these two curriculums that we do um, to help women get started
Is this
because it
open
is
for any women?
yeah, you can apply for it. And the
Okay.
reason why you have to apply is
Uh-huh.
because we also want to talk to you and understand where you are so that we can say yes, but not yet, or yes, before you do that, come over here because you need some of
Hmm.
this. Like, because there are existing businesses that probably still have to do incubator. Why? Because incubator starts you with your lean canvas business model. So you kind of have to start at the beginning. It takes you back to the beginning, not because you're not doing great, but because there might be something in there you're going to capture that you didn't have before.
Foundation.
And the foundations, exactly. And then the lean canvas helps you build your business plan. And then the business plan is your template that is a living document. It's not like you write it and you put it in the corner. That's your plan, and you have to keep working your plan. And you know, one of the interesting things when I first started here is people would be like, well, tell me about your business. No, I can't. What? Well, because, I don't want you to steal my idea. And I'm like, oh, it doesn't work that way. It's like, no, 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 no. But that was like interesting. That was one of the first hurdles I overcame, like getting to know our community, because it's like, no, there are probably 10 people doing the same thing you are. The difference is that they're not you. So
Yeah.
nobody's going to steal your idea. We want to help you cultivate it, but we can't do that if you don't share it, right?
Yeah.
And so it was always interesting just to learn, like, listen, but those are the things, like I said, care. I was like, okay, tell me more, walk me through it, build the relationship until they come to rely on you that, yeah, you're not going to do anything other than empower them to do what they want to do. So, yeah, it's like
It
every,
was it's a bit of a trust that
oh,
they needed to be established, it sounds like, because maybe their idea did get stolen or something. Or I remember I used to get advice because I used to just say stuff and people would come up and say, don't say it out loud. Like, don't say it out loud. Like, got so, and I'm like, I just talk. And so I could see, I could kind of see maybe where they got that from, where they had to be kind of protective over their ideas. But you guys are probably the first place they've been at where it's just like, no, it's safe, like really practicing that care model that you created. And they're like, oh, really? Like, you're really on my side? Like, you're really going to help me support and make this a thing? So yeah, that's a huge accomplishment that you guys had to lay out just to build that trust between you and the community and the
and
organization.
thank you. And it's not just me.
Yeah.
I am very lucky to have an incredible group of people I work
Yeah.
with who believe in that same thing.
Yeah.
And we tell, we share it, because I would say tell is not the right word, but we share it all the time to say, and the way we share it is to say, it's okay if you came today and you leave and you don't come back. I don't work by numbers. Like, I have
Mhm.
goals, right? For the work we do in nonprofits, everybody has outcomes
Yeah.
and goals and everything,
Yeah. Yeah.
but
Hmm.
we don't measure ourselves by the number. I believe that will take care of itself. So that's not how we approach things. It's about, you come today and you take some information and you leave and you don't come back. It's okay. If in a month you come back and say, hey, you know what you told me? Yeah, sure, come on in. Because the point is that business or anything that we do here, our workforce development training, our leadership training, all our services, our wraparound services, the goal is to be here when you need us. We're not going to dictate that to you, because then we're not really understanding where you are, right?
Hmm.
Or at least trying to. So different things happen in people's life happens. So you may decide to leave and then you want to come back. It's okay. Because it's a journey,
Yeah.
right? And you're going to take a little bit more and then leave, maybe practice it, and then you come back and you ask for more. That is okay, because
Yeah.
we're in it for the long haul. We're not trying to one and done and check, I met my quota or
And you're not
whatever.
instilling any judgment or shame or
No.
guilt or any of that. And you're kind of giving them their own agency to give them a
Yes.
choice.
Yes, it is always their choice. We
Yeah.
say, here's what we have. Okay. And we recommend you to start here because we think that's where we can serve you best. And you decide, you know. And they do. And the thing is that, every woman that engages with us, they take their time, and that's okay. We
Mm.
create other ways for them to engage, to get to know us, so that they know where we're coming from. Um, you know, and again, we may not say no. We may say not yet, but we don't say no. And we
Hmm.
always work to figure out a way, like who to connect them with, if we can't do it, we look for who can. And we're very lucky to work with a lot of subject matter experts who come and donate their time, or facilitators that we bring on board that we have gotten to know. So I'm not going to put Joe Schmo in front of you. I'm going to put
Mhm.
somebody I know, and I know they're not going to try and sell you something, or, you know what I'm saying? They're here because they believe in what we do too. And so we work really hard at that. And because of that, even graduates, alumni come back and they become mentors and subject matter experts and support the work we're doing. So it is. And it's like when I started, women are collaborators, they're community builders. So we count ourselves very lucky of that. And I'm not omitting men. Men are wonderful too. And we do serve about 20% of the people that go through our programs are men, so
Mm.
it's open. But it's more about creating the relationship that understands you're going to be on a journey and we're going to be here to do our best to meet, the needs of what's going on and learn from you too. Because we have to stay agile. We have to be open to learning what the challenges are that you're facing so that we can, do a better job of responding. Because we're growing too.
Okay, great. Now, I want you to talk a little bit about the resources and programs you have at the YWCA. I know you brought up the Build Academy for those who, if I understand correctly, already have their business. It's helping them dive deeper and grow and those. And then you have the incubator, capital HER at the end. I
Yeah,
saw that
incubator.
for the starters.
Yeah.
What other resources, programs, or can you dive a little bit more into those two? Or like if
We
someone is coming, like what do you have to offer?
we have Strive, which is our job readiness program. It's a cohort as well. It dives into financial wellness, EQ, and job skills. And women go through that program as well. We have our annual leadership conference that we invite women to attend. Always a wonderful experience. We have Leadership Academy, which is like a cohort style that is relaunching this fall for women in leadership. And it's a great way to dive into competencies and skills that help you navigate, the world, because even though we're very strong in it, we still have to learn how to navigate it with our different skills. We also have wraparound services like your sister's closet, which is a wonderful way to engage with us. It is manned by volunteer women. Like, these are former executive directors and women who have, had leadership roles in community. And what it is a free program where you can, if you're trying to get a job or build your career, career advancement, you get a free appointment for an hour. And it's a Nordstrom experience where they dress you and you can leave with five
Oh,
outfits,
that
professional outfits. And it's really a wonderful experience, because you come in, you see women come in like, oh yeah, and then they walk out all like pretty woman.
confidence builder.
Yeah, and I
Yeah.
remember hearing about that years ago. I forgot all of that, forgot all about that.
Yep, yep. And
Yes.
it's everything: shoes, jewelry, dress. Yeah, it's really a wonderful experience to see our women go through that. And we have Project Period, where again you can get free menstrual products. Unfortunately, this is a necessary item, and we're taxed on it, and sometimes it can be out of reach. And so we have a wonderful program for that. We have Teen Court, which is a diversion program for kids who find themselves, maybe they've made some tough choices. They can go through this program that is, our team works with Pima County to bring kids where they go through an experience where it's led by teens. So teen lawyers, everybody works together. The only adult in the room is the judge. And so they get to present the case and they get to decide, the jury gets to decide, also teens, what is going to be the accountability action for the youth. And it, of course, keeps them out of the system. So it's a wonderful program. And I always tell the team that that's so amazing because we also get to see like our teen attorneys eventually become real attorneys. That's pretty amazing. It's just again one of those full circle impact kind of stories that
Yeah.
happen. So our building, and then we have our Racial Justice Center where we do a lot of education on gender and racial equity. And so we're a busy
A
location.
lot of
We have a
programs.
lot of going on. Oh, I almost forgot. Our Comadritas program is our elderly program. We have Comadritas. It's an average of 25 to 30 elderly women who gather on Tuesdays and Thursdays for activities, education, health, and activities, a little bingo. And it's a way to engage our elderly community. And so it's a beloved program that we have.
You
And so,
guys covered the gamut, youngest to the eldest.
yeah,
I mean, there's something for everybody there.
yeah.
That's
So
great.
very proud of our organization.
Um, I'd like to ask a question. If you imagine a woman listening right now who is standing at the beginning of her journey, what would you want to say to her?
Hmm. It's possible. Um, and that it's okay to ask for help. And you know, she needs to, as long as she finds a space that she's comfortable in, and she practices those two things, she can achieve her goals. Because it really is about agency
Mhm.
and find a space that feels like home.
And I one of the things when I started my business is I had the hardest time finding resources to help me. I found a lot of the SBA.gov, and that was more general. There was SCORE as well, but I was looking for more of a mentor, and everything I was finding, I just wasn't finding anything. I was finding who I thought was a business coach ended up being a life coach. And so lesson 101, I learned big lesson there. And so I love this path of someone who's starting off has these resources to come and ask questions because I couldn't find anyone to help me with those questions. And so how would you mentioned applying to coming in, like what's the first step? If they're thinking about starting a business, what's their first step with you guys?
We have monthly orientations, the first Tuesday of the month. English is at 11 a.m. on Zoom,
Hmm.
and Spanish, because we do serve Spanish speaking community, is at 4 p.m. in person. And it's just based on, preferences that they like. And that's on our website under events. You can always find it.
Hmm.
And you can register to attend. But it happens the first Tuesday of the month. We also have Cafecito Mercadito. It's a marketplace, coffee chat marketplace. You'll hear it in both ways. Is where you can come and present your business. Like if you want a table and sell, like you can
Oh,
come. It's like a lab where you can come and present and practice your pitch and presenting.
really?
I like to pop in and give feedback and kind of, practice my merchandising skills and kind of share ideas with people about, hey, if you try this, try this. So it's a space to come and build your network.
So you can,
Um,
and that's something you can sign up.
yes, you can register, and that happens the second Thursday of the month. And we rotate mornings and
See,
evenings.
my
So,
antennas are going up because I'm
Mine is
brand new.
too.
You might see me.
no, that'd be come on. Come and get to know us. And yeah, and those happen. They're on our events calendar, so you always find it. And then yes, you can also request a counseling session, and we're updating our system where you're going to be able to go in and actually schedule the time. So that'll be coming probably in another month. But right now, you can contact info at YWCA Tucson.org or info at WBC of Southern Arizona.com. And you can get that information. You can send us an email and we'll circle back with you and schedule a time to meet with you. We provide counseling and technical assistance. So when you're saying, oh my gosh, all these things were going on, we won't do it for you, but we'll sit there with you and help you do it.
Yeah.
And it always sends me spinning. Oh, we also do business boot camp on a semi-annual basis where we'll schedule an event. to where you can come in and we walk you through registering your business, your tax ID, and we do all of that with you, guide you through it. And again, because this is your journey, we're just there to support you.
Yeah.
So and for me, it's my head twitches because sometimes people charge, and I'm a business person. I get it. You can charge, but are you know, you're just starting.
Right. Because it's even
It's
for
like it's
me.
only
Yeah.
$85 to do articles of incorporation. Like it's not, you don't have to pay 615. I've heard
Well,
$2,500.
you might
Again,
go through a fortune because maybe one program didn't work, and then, oh, I got this other program. I'm going to pay for that. So by the time you're done, you're like, you paid all this money and you still didn't get everything you need. And even if you try to do it on your own, looking online, just from my personal experience, it's a lot of mumbo jumbo stuff, especially if you're not business minded. All you have in mind is this service that you want to do, this thing craft that you want to do, but you might not be business oriented at all. And it's a lot of information to kind of weed through.
yes.
So I think that's wonderful. I think it sounds like a great center just to get some clarity on information on what are my very first steps that I need to do.
Yeah. And again, we were trying to look out for people, again, having gone through the pandemic, having gone,
And what are the
counseling
pitfalls?
and
Yeah.
providing TA for small business owners, our heart breaks when they face certain challenges and unfortunately go through some tough lessons, you know. But it's like we'll be happy to answer that question. Like, I see it sometimes, like I'll see all of a sudden, like in my emails, I'll be like, you need to register for your sam.gov because it's about to expire, yada, yada. Sam.gov is a registry where you get your unique entity number to do business with the government. Okay. If you're going to contract with the government, you have to register your business. Because of the pandemic and funding going out, federal funds going out to small businesses for emergency funds, et cetera, small businesses also had to register with sam.gov so they could track and connect. Like, there's a
Yeah.
process. If you just willy-nilly go on, you're going to pay somebody anywhere from $250 to $1,000 to register with sam.gov. It is free. It's
Oh,
free.
Mm.
wow.
Wow.
So when these emails start pushing out, I'll tell the team, you need to let people know, hey, these things are starting. Don't panic.
Yeah.
Don't, if you need help, we'll be happy to check for you and help you see if you're still current. Like it's just crazy. And again, I'm all for people doing business, but a big organization is happy to pay that because they don't have time,
Yeah.
but a little guy, they don't
Yeah.
have $250,
Right.
it's like, no. And then to renew, they keep charging you more because they exist. There's a purpose behind them. They
Mhm.
exist to help large entities. Fine, keep doing that. Again,
Yeah.
I'm a pro-capitalist, but I think
Right.
capitalism with
But
conscience.
sometimes some wording sometimes make it feel like you have to do it, like you have no
Hmm.
Exactly. They kind
choice.
of,
So
And
it's
so
kind of helping decipher and discern through languages of, okay, what I need to do legally versus what's optional.
optional. And
Yeah.
there's a lot of that comes out, and that's where we invite small business owners to say, hey, if you get something, just call us, come in, talk to us, and we'll
Yeah.
be happy to look into it for you, with you, you know, because yeah, we just want to prevent some of those scenarios. The last thing I would say is we also have a directory um, where small businesses are invited to join. It's an annual membership, but with it, you get a landing page. And a lot of small businesses, you know, that's a great thing because you have it and it has a very strong search engine because we're part of a larger, national search engine. So we have that. And there is a small fee for our courses, but that's the intention. Everything we do with intention. It's a small fee. It's not out of realm, but it's for skin in the game. Because
Yeah.
again,
Yeah.
I'm not teaching you true business if
Right.
I'm going to give it to you for free because
Right.
it's not free and you cannot build good financial habits on free.
Right. Right.
And so, there's reasoning behind it. Everything we do,
Yeah.
there's an intention. Our classes are hybrid. Why? Because we need in person to engage, and you're building other skills that way. And you need hybrid because you need to become tech savvy.
Yes.
The digital age is here, and the pandemic also showed us people were not.
Yeah.
We thought we were, but people were not. And
Yeah.
so there's purpose behind how we do
So it's
things.
all through, it sounds like you're practicing empowerment versus enabling. Like you're doing that more of, I heard of one woman who wound up building her own school. But when she first started out, she was like living out of her car and everything. And I think her light or walk was like she went to a Tony Robbins seminar and she got on a scholarship because she couldn't afford, but they had a requirement that you still had to contribute $100 because it's exactly what you said. It's not to be cruel. It's just, no, now you know you have a skin in the game. Like you put in that hard earned $100 that you scraped up together in it. So now you're going to show up for yourself and do the thing that you need to do. So
Right.
I totally, totally agree with you on there.
Because if you're going to do business and you want a brick and mortar, you're going to have to pay rent. If
Yeah.
you're going to do business, you're going to have to pay for licensing for this and that. I am not teaching you anything by starting with free.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
And they're going to take care of it and nurture it and grow it. So
Yeah, because
it's like
it's
we teach our
yours.
children, you want those sneakers. If
Mhm.
I buy you everything, you're just not going to really care about it. But when
Mhm.
you add your own hard-earned like allowance or whatever you got
Yeah.
toward what you worked so hard for, they took care of it. They loved it.
Hmm.
They like they yeah, so it's the same.
It's human behavior. If and for those who don't know, I've got a long history of being a mental health counselor, and it's something that I've always seen. And I've always seen it working in the corporate office. You go into the kitchen, and people don't treat the kitchen like they treat their own home because the kitchen's not theirs. It's free. And I've just seen when people get things for free, they just don't try as hard as
Yeah.
well. It's and they like Lena said, it's and I love the skin of the game. That's like a
Yeah.
perfect phrase for
Yeah.
that. And when they have to put money into it, they try harder, they take care of things, they put more effort into it.
Mhm.
So yeah.
Yeah. And again, we're not trying to get rich off of anybody. That's not the intent behind it. But it is. It's like, we know who we serve. So
Hmm.
Yeah.
it's aligned with that. But yes, you have to also commit. I remember going on vacation and then, you paid to get some tennis classes and yeah, it's only $10, but yeah, you wake up for those
I
because
know.
you paid $10 to go take that class. It's like, yeah, I'm gonna go. Even though you thought you were gonna sleep in on vacation. So yeah, it's just and totally
Exactly.
it's a
Exactly.
mindset.
Yeah.
And we're very lucky, like you said, we just work with amazing women who come through our programs and they're just amazing. It's just
Yeah.
beautiful to see.
And you mentioned something earlier and about women just defining their own success. And you were talking about the two other women earlier. And I love that line because women, we are starting to define what we want our success to look like, not what society's been telling us. And I feel that's a big impact on growth of the future of women in business. What else do you see since you've been at the A that you feel like is like giving you hope for our future in business?
Mm, well, let me answer it two ways. One is we've been under attack for a year now. Uh,
Hmm.
Um, our work, our women in general are under attack.
Hmm.
Um, and and I say this only because I respect every woman's choice. However you want to live your life, wonderful, wonderful. Pursue it with all your might. That's good. That's agency. You get to decide, but you don't get to decide for me,
Hmm.
and I don't get to decide for you.
Mhm.
And that's the part that concerns me, but also activates me.
Mhm.
And so when I think about for us, what do I see? I see us grow. I'm inspired by our continued growth. I'm inspired by our resilience to keep navigating challenges. It's not new, right?
Hmm.
It's not new. It does sometimes hit me when I think, wow, I thought we were further along. But then, you wake up and you go, what
Yeah.
the heck?
Hmm.
But I'm also inspired, and it just reignites me to keep pushing for what I want for my daughter.
Yeah.
And for, what I wish for any woman, is to remember, I told you at the beginning, what I loved is creating spaces for other people to pursue whatever they want.
Yes.
Hmm.
I always felt for my team, I would tell them, I'm your guardrails. I'm just helping you not go off the cliff. How you navigate this is going to be up to you, but I'm going to be here to at least hold you
Yeah.
when you start to veer off, or pick you up when you fall, dust off your knees when you trip. Like, I think I'm more inspired than ever to keep doing that. And I feel that I'm in, again, the right space to keep doing that. As long as I have energy, I'm going to keep doing it. And I'm going to hopefully continue to work with others who feel the same way and are willing to be here to give of their time, to join our team, whatever that may look like, so that we keep growing our community. Because I feel that it just continues to grow. And that's what gives me hope, is that our community hasn't shrunk by what's been happening. It's actually growing. And so that for me gives me goosebumps. And I feel like,
Testament to
okay,
resilience. Yeah.
we're on the right path. And because women are resilient,
Yeah.
like whatever we carry, it's generational,
Hmm.
you know. And I think we're at a moment again where we're gonna push forward. It's just gonna be a challenge, but I think at least I feel like my mom's giving me the right tools to do it.
Yeah. She did that. She did that. Um, I mean, we came this far. We're not going to lay down.
I'm going anywhere.
If anything, we get stronger
Exactly.
and we get more creative and we get more inclusive. And what a wonderful thing to have you and your team in this organization, in this community. I mean,
Thank
it
you.
just sounds, this whole time you were talking, it just really, for me personally, but you, Renee, I know you mentioned it, it's just really gave me chills, goosebumps. It's the good stuff that just like the hairs on the back of the head of just like, I don't know, it is a lot of hope and optimism. And yes, can do it.
And I'm definitely a half glass. What is it? Glass half full girl.
Yeah.
I always think
I'm
we're
like
good.
soaking in your like optimistic rays right now.
Yeah,
Yes,
it's
I am
possible.
too.
Yeah.
Remember, it's
I'm getting my
possible.
good dose of vitamin D optimism from you. Well, one thing we like to ask all our guests, to wrap it up, is what, if you could sit down with your younger self at the beginning of your journey, what
Mhm.
would you tell her?
A great question. Oh gosh. Oh my gosh. She was such a nut. Um, I think I would have said, don't worry so much.
Mm.
I would have said, don't worry so much. Yeah. Because I was a young, what is it? I was a young adult,
Hmm.
you
Yeah.
know, being, product of a divorced family and the oldest, I was a little adult. So
Oh,
I would
yeah.
say, yeah, I didn't have to worry so much. Yeah.
Nice.
But it's okay.
Yeah.
Made me who I am today. So,
Hmm.
Yeah. Look how far you've come
mhm,
Yeah.
and the impact you made.
yeah. So
Um,
don't worry so much.
Thank you. I'm going to take that too.
I actually, that is actually a very strong comment.
Yes.
Yes.
Yes. It's so simple, but it's so powerful. So thank you.
Yeah, because we do.
I'm
We
taking
just,
it.
and we carry it. It's just like,
Yeah.
release, let it
Yeah.
go.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yes.
Also therapy.
Well, Renee,
Just
she's
to
been
plug
a
that, Renee, just
full-blown
to plug.
therapist for the past 20 years. Yeah.
No, what is it? Nobody needs it, but everybody benefits from it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So,
Everybody
well,
could use a little something of it.
well, thank you
Yeah.
again for being
You.
here with us and telling us your journey and just being open and honest. The real talk of it is just been wonderful. I've
Yeah.
loved this episode.
Oh,
Yes.
thank you.
Thank you for going there. And thank you
Yeah.
for just really showing us who you are and it's and the work you're doing and where it comes from. And it's just it's been we can feel it.
Well,
And we
thank
hope
you.
our listeners we want to thank everybody who will listen to this episode and being part of this space with us. And these conversations is really why Athena's listening crew exists, why we created, Renee and I, from our own conversations that we had with each other. And it's just to listen, a space to listen, to learn, and grow together as
Mhm.
women navigating business and life.
Yeah.
And so thank you again, Isabel,
Yes.
for joining
Oh,
us.
thank you.
Thank you.
Really,
Can I
really.
say one thing?
Yes, yes,
Yes.
please.
I was just gonna say, number one, like I told you, I'm a relationships person, so I had to watch your past podcast, and I love the name. I didn't tell you, but my husband and I are both Greek families, come from Greek descendant
Oh,
families, yeah. And so I loved the whole explanation and how you got there. And also too, I mean, I wanted to come honestly because we want to support small businesses. And I loved how you guys, shared that you just did it and you're, figuring it out. And that's part of the journey. And I think that's wonderful. And so, as a WBC, we wanted to support that. And so I'm very grateful for this invitation and for you guys making me feel comfortable enough to share the real share.
great. That is an absolute great compliment because that's
Yeah.
really what we want. I think we come into this hoping our guest is comfortable to be able to
Yeah. Well, thank
interact
you.
with
Definitely.
our guest. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. And I'll
So,
keep watching.
okay.
Thank you.
All right,
Thank you.
ladies.
Thank
Thank
you
you
for your
so much.
Thank
support.
you so much.
Okay.
Take
Bye.
care.
Take
All right.
care.
Bye.
Bye.